Hey guys, Desmond are here. We're right here. Green Mound. This is a really special spot for me and Cub. Well, maybe not for Cub. It is for me. This is a Native American shell midden. And I'm going to take you guys to the top and show you around and kind of explain the history. But there's so much to see right up here. Keep off trail. That's actually a nice little trail that leads you back to another trail in the park. They put those up all over the place. Kind of silly. This tree itself is multiple hundred years of age. Takes a while for a sand live oak to kind of do this. If this is a sand live oak, no. Not a sand live. Green Mound, that's just what they named it. It's a live oak. But yeah, they can get much bigger, but since we're so close to the coast, which I'm going to show you guys how close we are, they have to combat with the salt spray and the heavy winds, and they're kind of all blown this way. You can see the branches are all going that way. So yeah, it only gets to a certain age, but you can tell how old it is by how thick it is. And some beehive over there. They're just not very active, or they've moved out this year. Kind of cool stuff. Me and Cub are definitely not supposed to be back here, but this is a sacred spot, and you can go to HE double hockey sticks if you're telling me I can't go to a special spot. So you come up here and you see all these shells, right? This is what the natives here spent hundreds or thousands of years depositing these shells and pottery and bones, but mostly shells from the stuff that they harvested and ate on a daily basis. They would collect it here and other places, and the Indians that did that most famously in Florida were Timucuan, I believe. Oh, it always smells like weed coming up here. I have no idea why. It's not like anyone is always smoking weed when I come here. It's just like this special sacred area, and it really does. It's weird. There's no one here in the parking lot. There's no one here at all. But it smells like it. Just another aspect of this crazy, cool place. But you can just see it's just shell. Everywhere you go, it's just shell. This whole thing is made of shell. And they would build these all over Florida, especially along the rivers and the coastline here by the ocean. This one is one of two of the largest in Volusia County that are left remaining. And it's about 40 feet tall. And I just visited in the last video, which I'm going to publish before this one, the Spruce Creek Ceremonial Mound. And they buried people, their tribes people. They buried their possibly elites or their chieftains at that mound. And it got up to like some 50 feet or something. So it's the tallest mound that's around here. But this one, it's a close second place. It's a really special place. They built this mound for the chieftains, for the high-ranking members of the area that lived here, and they lived up here. And I imagine they had ceremonies and special rituals that they would do up here too. Oh shoot, my shoe. I need that. But it's located in a very special spot for the natives that lived here, because on one side, Cub loves coming up here with me, but I got the camera, so on one side you can see the ocean over that way, which was a very special source of food and resources for them. And then over here, I don't know if I'll be able to show it to you because the trees are completely grown over, but over here, if the trees weren't in the way, you would be able to see the Halifax River, which was a giant estuary, like a brackish water estuary where they could harvest oysters, clams, all kinds of seashell kind of creatures. And so seashell creatures were one of their primary sources of food. And there's not a lot of rocks here in Florida. Occasionally there'll be an upcropping of some limestone or coquina stone from the aquifer levels down below, but that happens more up north than it does here in Central or South Florida. So there was not a lot of rocks for them to build these types of dirt mounds that would rise up above the earth and offer them a place to protect themselves or have ritual. And I've had experiences on mushrooms where they showed me a hallucination or vision, well, whatever you want to call it, but they showed me Native Americans rushing to the top of one of these mounds during a huge, crazy storm. Like, it was a hurricane where I was, like, in the real world. And I went out on a walk and I saw this mound taken over on this, it was a golf course, but like the terrain of it had taken over and transported me to another world. And I saw this man and his wife, like, with tears, and the wife had like something on her back. It might have been a baby, it might have been just materials they were carrying, but they were in distress, like climbing up this hill as water was just rushing in faster and faster below them. And this small mound that was built up was all that protected them from the flooding. And so I imagine that places like this served a point like that. Like, their previous generations that stretch back thousands of years realized that crazy storms came here, and sometimes they get so bad that water levels go 20, 30 feet above where they usually do, and that can cause massive floodings. And you get some kind of a warning ahead of time that maybe, oh, it's time to run now, let's run to the nearest mound. You know, this is just speculation and hypothesis. What we do know is that, like, important people lived at this mound, and I speculate that, like, they would help people in a time of need to come up here and seek more elevated land. But who knows, maybe they didn't do that. Maybe they didn't do that at all. But maybe they did. It's a really cool spot. This isn't how it looked, really. We actually, it used to be a bit taller, maybe about 10 feet taller in the 1910s and 20s, and it ended at the late 20s, I believe. They excavated a lot of this out for shells and artifacts and different things like that, and it kind of changed the whole topography. And there's a path over here where you can kind of see that, where it's more like a path built for like heavy machinery to like drive through, and not like a footpath like some of these other paths. The one that I took to get up here is kind of a footpath, and this one right here is another footpath down. So it didn't look like this. Sadly, we tore into that. A lot of these Native American mounds got broken into for the shells at the very least. They would use that to make their own coquina cement. And yeah, it's kind of a travesty. But there's still places that are still remaining, like the burial mound I took yesterday. That's pretty untapped. We didn't do a lot of destroying to that. You could tell that there were actual trails that were, hand trails, or, trails for people on foot, not for heavy machinery. So they're kind of kept intact in certain places, but a lot of them have been destroyed. But if you are endearing enough and have enough persistence in Florida, you can visit like dozens, if not hundreds, of these that are still remaining. You just have to do a bit of traveling and exploring the river systems and stuff like that. This will be my 5th Native American mound that I've visited in Florida. Actually, I believe this was the first one I ever visited, the first or the second one. It's like my favorite, but in total now I'm at 5. He is at 4. Well, I did most of my blabbing about this special spot. It's always really nice, beautiful area to come to, and just always have protection from the sun. Even if it's 90 degrees outside, it's not that bad. So it's just really pretty. You can always come up here, and there's other people that make use of this place still. You've got people that have markings on the tree. I always come up here occasionally, and sometimes there are people like with friends here, you know, using the space. So it's still a special spot for people, which is, you know, what matters. Like, people still using these special places, you know, keeping it valid, not having the meaning of it lost in time, having it gated off so no one can go, and just having mystery and no actual experience of the place. Anyways, I will let you guys go. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, all that cool fun stuff. And me and Cub will see you in the next one.